Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be doing a no garbage review over my SportsRoyals Power Rack. I purchased this a little bit over a year ago at this point on Amazon for about $350. If you guys want to check it out, I'll leave the link to where you can buy this exact one on Amazon down below in the description. And please keep in mind, I am not sponsored by Amazon, SportsRoyals, or anybody else to make this video here today. I picked this up with my own hard-earned money. I did have a few problems though when I initially got this power rack because some of the attachments didn't fit or they were broken. So I did have to reach out to SportsRoyals and have them send me some new attachments. They were really responsive. They did send me the new attachments pretty quickly. And just for my troubles, that also gave me an additional $40 back. So I really only paid about $310 all in for this power rack. And as you guys can see, I picked up the power rack here where I can do pull-ups, bench press, squat, and a bunch of other things. And I also got the cable attachment in the back where I can do lat pull downs, seated cable rows, tricep extensions, and some more exercises. You can get a more expensive version where it has two separate cables up here at the front to do cable crossovers for the chest and some other exercises. But it's almost a $200 additional charge on top of this. So when I was looking to purchase, I just decided that was not worth it for me personally. But I do regret not getting that additional cable crossover in the front here because I really miss doing that exercise. But it was just a lot of money at the time and I wasn't sure how much I was actually going to use this thing or not. Obviously now I know that I use it like 2, 3, maybe even more times than that per week. So it would have been worth the investment, but at the time I just wasn't personally sure. Just before I started filming this video, I did look on Amazon to see how much this thing is right now. The exact same one that I have with the full rack and the lat pull down in the back, if you get it with the red attachments, it's only $310 right now. But for some weird reason, if you get the exact same thing, but with the blue attachments, it's for some reason $330. So it really just depends on when you're looking to buy. If you click that link down below in the description, and it's a little bit more than what I said, it just has to do with what time you're looking at it. Sometimes they run really good sales and sometimes the sales are not so good. When I bought, it was average, but I was just a little bit impatient and I didn't really want to wait around for the price to drop a little bit more. Now, let's get into the actual review. Today's review is going to be broken up into 5 separate categories. For each category, the power rack can receive a maximum score of 10 points, and at the end, it can get up to 50 points if it receives a 10 out of 10 on all 5 categories. First, I want to start off with the build quality and stability. That was one of the biggest things for me personally when I was looking to buy, because I used to have a rack that was just 2 beams, but when I was doing squats on it and bench press even, it was just really unsafe because that thing shook a lot and there was no real safety bars. Like if I couldn't get the weight up on a squat, I was basically screwed because I did not have the safety bars. So when I was looking to buy, I wanted a fully enclosed power rack like I have here with 4 separate portions just to make it really safe. And I wanted something that was quality and sturdy, but that wasn't going to break the bank. So this thing so far, I have not had a problem with the stability and the build quality. I would not say, however, it's gym quality, but it's really good if you're just going to be using it for yourself and maybe you and a workout partner or something. I wouldn't buy this and stick it in Gold's Gym because it wouldn't last. It's not quite gym quality, but it's still really good if you're just looking to set up a basic home gym like I was and like I have in my garage. They claim that it's made out of steel. It's extremely thin, not super expensive steel, but it is steel, so it's pretty good quality because it's steel, but it's not the highest quality, most sturdy steel ever. there's not really going to be a problem with this thing, obviously, as long as you take semi-good care of it. So overall, it's sturdy and safe for the cost. I really have not had any problems with it. Obviously, it's not going to save you if you do a bad bench press or a bad squat and you're really unsafe. So you still need to make sure to practice proper form and stuff. But when I'm doing a squat or a heavy bench press, I have a lot more peace of mind with this thing, especially if I'm by myself. As you guys can see, I have this thing outside in my garage and I live in a really hot, humid climate. You can already see that I'm sweating just standing here filming this video because it's already that hot out here. And surprisingly, I have not noticed any signs of corrosion on this thing with all my sweat flying all over it and everything. Obviously, the beams here are painted, so they're a little bit more resistant to corrosion, but the bolts on the bottom are just bare metal and they have not shown any signs of corrosion. I thought by now they'd definitely be rusting out just a little bit because I'm constantly getting sweat and it's constantly humid out here. So for $310, it definitely comes with a ton of attachments, and I like to do a lot of different exercises just to throw my body off. So it's really nice to have all these different options. The biggest complaint I have about the build quality of this thing is not the safety bars, these beams holding it up, not these little J hooks to hold the barbell itself, but it's these things on the side that actually hold the weights. These things are made extremely cheap. As you slide on and off the weight, it just completely shreds down to nothing and it gets little microplastic pieces all over the place. So this thing really drives me nuts just because it makes a mess, and you guys can tell they kind of slacked on this a little bit when they were making it because it's just cheap and not very high quality. So for that reason, I'm going to have to give the build quality and stability 9 out of 10 points. If Sports Royal fixes these things and makes these a little bit better, I definitely give it 10 out of 10. Next, I want to move into the versatility of this thing. Really happy with it so far. I wanted something where I could hit a ton of different exercises without having to pay for a gym membership. I was just tired of paying $50 a month to go to Gold's, and it's constantly overcrowded. It's far from my house, so it's just getting expensive, and it was consuming a lot of my time to constantly be going over there and having to drive through traffic and wait and just waste all that time. So I wanted something that I could do most of the exercises that I needed to do without having to leave my house. So on this thing, it's extremely versatile. First, I got the pull-up bar so I can hit pull-ups. Then it comes with the J hooks, which are good for doing barbell squats, barbell bench press, incline bench press, etc. One thing that I almost forgot to mention is that when you set this thing up for a squat, so let's say I put the bar across here and you try and get up underneath it, you're pretty much right up on top of the cable here, which I'm not a big fan of. They should really move this cable back a little bit further so you can actually put the barbell here and do a squat without getting so close and personal with this thing. There's been a million times that I've kind of brushed my nose on the little cable right here, trying to get up underneath the barbell for a squat. It also comes with these little safeties up at the front. I like to use these to do bent over barbell rows because you can easily put the weight on these, and I can also do barbell shrugs with these too. And then down here towards my right foot, you guys can see it actually has this little extension where you can actually slide the barbell into it and do barbell rows with the little attachment thing. I don't know exactly what this attachment is called, so let me know down below in the comments. This setup did not originally come with that attachment to actually do the barbell rows. I actually reached out to Sports Royal directly and asked them for that attachment, and they actually sent it to me free of charge. So all you got to do is just go ahead and email them, let them know what attachment you want after you buy this thing, and they will likely send it to you like they did to me free of charge. charge. So I really like that. I don't use it as much as I should, but I like having that option. It's really nice on this thing. I got the cable in the back here. I can use this for lat pull downs, seated rows, tricep extensions, and a number of other exercises. It has two spots where you can actually tie up the bar to do the exercise, up here at the top and down here at the bottom. It's really missing an extra place where you can put the bar. For example, I wish it had an attachment here to hook up the bar so you could do stuff like face pulls and stuff without having to sit down here on the ground. But overall, it still allows me to do most of the exercises that I personally want to do with the cable machine. And then one problem that this has is that you can do a lat pull down with this, but if you put a bench here like I do and try and do the lat pull down sitting on the bench, there's not really anything holding your knees. So if you're a little bit stronger and you're lifting a little bit more weight using this thing for a lat pull down, it basically just pulls you up off the bench because there's nowhere to hold your knees down. So it's kind of useless for doing lat pull downs just because if you go a little bit heavier, there's nothing to hold you down onto the bench. So I don't know what solution there would be to that. I mean, I guess they would need to put something to hold your knees down in this area. It would be nice to see them add that. But again, for the price, it's not the end of the world. I can just go ahead and do pull-ups and it's pretty much the same difference. So all in all, it has plenty of options. I can knock out about 95% of the exercises that I want to do with just this basic and inexpensive setup right here. But because it's missing that spot to actually attach the bar right here in the middle of the cable, and because of the lat pull down problem where you can't really do heavy weight because it just lifts you up off of the bench, I have to give the Versatility 9 out of 10. But if they can find a solution to put an extra place to attach your bar or whatever you want to attach right here in the middle of this cable machine and something to hold your knees down while you're doing lat pull downs, I definitely would give it 10 out of 10. But overall, it's still extremely versatile with all the options that you have on this cheap and inexpensive setup. Now I want to move into the safety. That is a big deal for me when I'm working out because I do not want to injure my back, I do not want to mess up my knees, and I just want to feel safe and have peace of mind, especially when I'm doing heavy lifts like squat, bench press, etc. So far, this thing has been extremely sturdy and safe at this point. It does wobble a little bit because it's not like super expensive. It's not like a solid piece of steel like it is at Gold's Gym or Lifetime Fitness or something. But I've never felt unsafe doing a workout with this power rack. I have no problem with it and I have extreme peace of mind when I'm using this. And I don't feel like I'm going to be screwed if I can't get the weight up on a squat or something. I can just let it down on these safety bars right here and have no problem because these things are extremely sturdy. And this thing is extremely safe because it has welded joints, and wherever it doesn't have welded joints, it has solid bolts to hold the two pieces together, which makes it feel just a little bit more sturdy and a little bit more safe. And since we're talking about safety, I want to get into the exact specs on how much weight this thing can safely hold. So on the cable in the back, it can do a maximum of 500 pounds, which is really good. I don't even think I've gotten close to that because I can't do like a 300-pound seated cable row or something. If you guys are super strong and trying to row like 800 pounds, this thing is definitely not going to be enough. But for about 99% of people, 500 pounds on this cable machine in the back is more than enough. Then as for these safety bars right here that are really useful for when you're doing a squat, they can hold a maximum weight of 1,200 pounds. So unless you're like an NFL football player, I don't think you're going to be squatting more than about 1,200 pounds and you'll have no problem. I don't even think I've broken probably out of somewhere in the 300-pound range, maybe in the 200-pound range on squat, just because I don't want to mess up my knees or my lower back. Then the safety arms up here in the front are rated for up to 1,000 pounds. So these, I don't understand why you'd have more than about 1,000 pounds on these anyways. I don't even think I've ever put more than about 285, maybe 300 pounds on these things up here. And that was to do some heavy shoulder shrugs or something. So again, these are perfect for about 99% of people out there. You're not even gonna get close to the weight limit on these. Then the hooks back here for bench press, these things can hold up to 800 pounds. So unless you're like extremely strong, doing like a 900-pound bench press for whatever reason, these things are gonna be more than enough for you. Again, they're good for about 99% of people out there, and you won't even get close to that 800-pound weight capacity. So for the safety of this thing, I really have to rate it a 10 out of 10 just because I have good peace of mind when I'm doing a heavy lift on this power rack. I'm not concerned about it. And on every bar on this thing, every point where it's going to hold or potentially hold weight at some point, it's well beyond the weight capacity I'm ever going to need it to hold. So that gives me a little bit extra peace of mind because, for example, if these J hooks for a bench press could only hold about 200 pounds and I was lifting in that 200-pound range, I would be a little bit concerned about that because I really wouldn't want to get close to the maximum weight capacity on a portion of this just because, again, I like to play it safe. Next, let's move on to the customer service. So at the beginning of this video, like I was saying, I had a couple problems with some of the attachments on this thing. Like one of these bars up at the front here actually didn't fit into the hole for whatever reason, just because it wasn't made correctly. So I actually found their email, emailed them, and I heard back from them within 24 hours. And I said, here's the problem, here's what's going on. And they said, just send us a picture of what you need and we'll go ahead and send you a replacement. I immediately sent them the picture and they said, we're gonna ship it out today. And I got it shipped all the way to my house within a few days. And that was not even having to deal with Amazon directly. That was directly with the SportsRoyal customer service. And I did have a couple of other things, like one of these weight holders was broken. It wasn't working right. So they sent me one of those, no problem. And like I was talking about with this extension up at the front to actually hold the bar to do the rows. Again, I don't know the exact name of the attachment. Okay, let me know down below in the comments. They sent me that attachment so I could do that exercise free of charge. Again, extremely quick. This thing also comes with a 1-year warranty, and all you have to do is email SportsRoyal and they'll go ahead and send you the replacement part without any problem. So that really gave me peace of mind because I actually felt like the warranty was actually useful in this case. And if I broke a part or needed an additional part within that first year, all I had to do was reach out to them and they would send it to me free of charge. So overall, the customer service from SportsRoyal is extremely responsive, helpful, and for that reason, I'm gonna have to give the customer service 10 out of 10 points. Next, let's move into the value. First, I have to say this is an extremely good value because, again, I only paid about $310 for it. And if you think about it, I've actually saved money in the long run buying and setting this thing up myself because instead of having to pay $40 to $50 every month just to go to Gold's Gym, I pay $310 for this thing one time and I don't have to pay any more. So at this point, I've actually saved money just in not having to pay so much every month for a gym membership. So overall, I would have to say this thing was definitely worth the investment, and it's actually saved me money and going to continue to save me more money over the long run. So for the value of this, I have to give it a 10 out of 10. So overall, after all 5 categories here, this power rack receives a score of 48 out of 50 points. Really good, really solid score. A few things that SportsRoyal could fix, like with the cable in the back here. It can have a little place to attach the bar here so you can do face pulls, and they can find a solution and figure out how you can actually do a lat pull down without it pulling you up off the bench. And if they can fix these things right here that hold the weights, I would definitely say that I would give this thing a 50 out of 50, which would be even better. So hopefully they can fix some of those issues going forward into the future, but still overall 48 out of 50 points is extremely solid. And I would definitely buy this thing again or buy something else from Sports Royal going into the future. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments and I will make sure to answer you. If not, I hope this video helped you out and I'll see you guys in another one.